This is our final presentation. Our team name is ThePresent, and our title is Using Event Camera to Detect, Track, and Classify the Human Body. My name is Chandwaney, Jatin, Vimal.
Tung, Lam, Chris.
I'm Zhenyou.
I'm Zeliang.
This project was made possible thanks to the opportunity provided by us three. There is no prototype produced. Instead, our dataset and model results will be visualized to facilitate the demonstration. Event camera, aka neuromorphic camera, is a newcomer to the machine vision field. It records data instantly as it happens. It detects light changes. It will not record static or slow-moving objects since the changes in light intensity don't surpass the dynamic threshold. This mechanism makes it a good choice for selected applications, including surveillance. Our project aims to apply the event camera as an all-day stationary surveillance camera to collect continuous event data, to train deep learning models, to detect accidents and medical emergencies for single living elderly in low-lying environments. Problem analysis. Very little research on training models with the event-based data, and it cannot use frame-based vision methods. Conventional cameras capture all data in the view at a fixed clock rate, which is slow and power hungry. Event camera can overcome this. The table shows the differences between these cameras. The event camera is energy and data efficient, adequate for challenging lighting conditions, and an ultra-fast, compact-sized system that acquires new data asynchronously. These are the output of event camera, including FYP, XY coordinate, polarity, and time information. We can see the event-based sensor is very smooth and have a very high collecting frequency, while the frame-based sensor is very choppy. Methodology. We use two methods to solve this problem: frame-based method and event-based methods. Self-collected dataset. As no other dataset fits our needs, we collect our dataset based on these assumptions. Single living elderly means only one person exists in the field. We want to detect these 4 distinctly different elderly specific accidents, including fall down, seek help, heart attack, and headache. The event camera outputs the raw data directly, which was used to transfer to other formats to fit our different needs. The event camera is not plug and play. We need to set up Linux and a specific environment to use it. We adjust the camera parameter to reduce the background noise. We just showed the fall down action class. This is seek help. This is labeled as heart attack. This is headache. And this is camera placed at normal height. Dataset problems and concerns. There are 3 issues with our dataset. 1, lack of representativeness in the dataset. Limited participants are recorded during the COVID time. 2, different interpretation for the same action class. Like seek help, people may wave either hand or both hands. 3, limited action class choices. It has to be elderly specific accidents and easy to mimic by students.
We first introduced the frame-based method. in the field of image object detection, you only look once is one of the most famous algorithms due to its good performance in speed and accuracy. We use YOLO V5 to detect a static human body in event image. Next page, please. This is the result graphs, and you can see that YOLO performs well in the static image detection. Next page, please. Next, we want to use YOLO to detect some specific actions. As the picture shows, YOLO cannot detect a specific action. So we will use the temporal shift module to do our next experiment. Next page, please.
So temporal shift module is an advanced technology on video recognition. It applies some shifting around the temporal dimension during training, which makes it more powerful for understanding continuous actions and also achieves high performance. Next, please. And there are three main steps in our construction of the dataset for TSM training. First is the editing video according to different actions, and then we extract frames from the videos. Finally, we generate labels for the frames for the training purpose. Next, please. And so we need to edit a long video recorded by the event-based camera into small clips of actions. And below are two examples of our video clips. Next. We train a model with 300 apples and use it to do several testing with our test data. The test result below shows that ask for help and fall down are classified correctly as two categories of 0 and 1. While the headache and heart attack class, the model can poorly detect these two classes. Next, please. And since the test results are in test formats, and so we try to perform some visualization on that. And here shows the two visualization results of our models. And that's the frame-based method. And let's switch to event-based method.
So now talking about the event-based method, we've used spiking jelly to produce our solution. And spiking jelly is also used as the low-level solution for various other SNN implementations, such as stereo spike. Now using spiking jelly, you are able to train raw data directly or by converting them to frames and then using that into the SNN. Next slide, please. So for data pre-processing, we have a different label file that contains all our labels for one sample. And this is just under file name _label. And the format for each of our labels are going to be the action class flag, which is an integer from 1 to 4, the start time of the event in microseconds, and the end time in microseconds. Now we separate each sample into individual NPZ files, and these files are what we feed into the model to train. Next slide, please. So our model is actually the Tempotron SNN model, and using the leaky, integrate, and fire model, which assumes that the spatial and temporal integration of inputs is linear, meaning that the X and Y coordinates are actually linear, as well as the time itself. And we send each spike as an individual input to the Tempotron, which does some calculations. And we sum up the total calculations for an entire sample, which contains potentially millions of spikes. And if the calculations exceed a specific threshold, the neuron will fire an output spike, which is our label, our predicted label itself. Next slide, please. Now for the results for training, so far we've gotten about 20% accuracy in our training accuracy. And then we've also started off with a very high training loss. But as time's gone on, our training loss has gotten less and less. Next slide, please. We can see the same thing for testing as well, about 20% accuracy for the epochs we've done so far, and testing loss is going down as time goes on. Now, it's also important to say that we've only been able to accurately predict one label, which is our seeking help label. Next.
So the right-hand side is labeled as fall over. Our model cannot detect it. Event-based model cannot detect that. And for a split second, we can see the left-hand side has a seek help predicted correctly. Recap. We tried these frame-based methods. Among these, the TSM performs best in accident prediction. Spiking jelly is a big leap forward, enabling our computers to run SNN, but this simulation of SNN will resulted in discounted performance. SNN will only run well on native hardware, so for our successors, please try to explore other methods other than SNN and try to work on performing real-time inferencing in detecting accidents.
So in conclusion, we do think that the frame-based method is much better, and we've seen that with TSM and in fact YOLO as well, but TSM in general is better than the Tempotron SNN method. Now, given more time, we would like to test out the SNN implementation using frames instead of directly inputting the raw frames to train a model. Now, most SNN implementations actually convert events to frames directly in the preprocessing stage, so we think that giving it a try would be valuable. With this as well, we would also like to compare two SNN models, one from Spiking Jelly and one from StereoSpike, as while they're both based on the same low-level architecture, they both have different models which might work differently. And we also like to train with a slightly larger and more diverse data set, as due to COVID, we weren't able to record that as spoken about in the issues section. Thank you for listening to our presentation.
Now, we are going to demo some experiment results in our project. First, we come to frame method. We train a deep learning model using YOLO.
We can use this model to detect normal working people, but cannot detect specific actions, such as wave hand and fall down. After the detect finished, you can see the action cannot be detected. So we use TSM to detect specific actions.
So we turn to temporal shift module. We used the best model from TSM training to obtain this test result. From the test result, we can tell that TSM is better on understanding continuous action, but still can poorly detect the headache and heart attack classes. Here are the two visualization output by TSM. This is the Ask for Help class. The label can be shown on the video. And this is the fall down class.